Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Hey everyone, I thought I'll just switch over to voiceover because you're just gonna hear me banging on stuff. Um, basically, the 454 that came with the RV has this air injection stuff. Later on, they got removed by factory. They switched to fuel injection, so it was no longer required to have the air injection. So they're not really required by law anymore because it's such an old vehicle. So since they are rotted out and broken, I just have to remove them. I tried to remove them with the Sawzall or the Sawzall I guess, but it was just a little too difficult. So I switched over to banging them off with a hammer. Made it so much easier. And the tube is very thin, so it's not like it takes a lot of effort. So there is a fitting inside the exhaust manifold that holds the air tubes in place, and it routed out right there at the connection. The fittings the fittings are also quite messed up. So, yep, I'm spraying some WD-40, but it didn't really work much at all. It just lots of rust. It's dissimilar metals from what I could feel from the pieces. So yeah, that's never fun. I need to figure out what to do with the microphone because you just hear me breathing really hard. So at first I was giving it a shot with the impact, which logically is a good idea, technically speaking, because the impact from the every shot kind of loosens up the rust as you go along. So I had more success removing rusted bolts with impact gun than a socket. Not in this case though. Not in this case. I think it was a 22mm socket is what I used. It is definitely not metric, but that's all I have. There you go. Yep. I tried removing it with a wrench before, but that didn't go well. I kinda just give up. The rust prevented the socket from sliding on. So I had to get a little creative with my friend here. So I'm just showing you the whole process that I tried. I'm not cutting out anything specific really. Just cutting out the repetitive stuff. So here I go with the impact. And that's basically a no-go. I tried going back and forth. It's not full power, by the way, also on the fresh battery. And it just smoked it right off. Later on I realized also when I was doing the brakes at some point that the easier entrance to that is right through the wheel. So it actually just take the wheel off and the tubes are right there. Here we're switching to the brake bar. It's a little awkward to get into there. Probably a ratchet would be better. But I don't really have a ratchet that big, so. As you can imagine, it's very stuck. There you go. Some success. At that point, now that I broke it loose, we can give it some whirly whirls. And it can go. There you go. Now repeat it, well, at least 6 more times. I think the fitting is brass or something. I'm not sure. It's very soft. The access is very limited though, so. Yeah, dropping the socket was a normal thing. And I found it again.
Oh!
I guess while watching it, me do the whatchamacallit, the hammering. So the air injection. It's a very simple concept that's still used today in some cars. Definitely extra cost, but it does work. Basically, what happens that the engine not efficiently burns everything inside the combustion chamber, so there's exhaust comes out that has some unused fuel. In that case, if you add a little bit of fresh oxygen into the whole mix, then that unburned fuel is burned, so you have less of cancer-causing stuff out of the tailpipe. It still produces NOx and stuff like that, but at least you don't get hydrocarbons, which are very toxic for humans. And yeah, and in this case, it failed because the tubes are broken. So instead of injecting it, it just kind of had the exhaust come out from the exhaust pipes, from those pieces of pipe, which made it quite horrible to use because it's just a giant exhaust leak. So the first step is obviously to remove the old system. There's few things you can do, but in this case, because the pipes were rutted out right there by the base of the fitting, really the option is to remove.
Mm-hmm.
You can see me, I already did like 5 or 6 of them. 2 of them got rounded off.
What?
And I found a valve.
What the hell?
So I tried to remove the rounded off pieces, but I failed. You can actually just skip forward at this point if you're actually watching it. I tried multiple ways, it's just too soft, I don't get enough grip. So, skip, I guess? Why? Just skip. Skip! Jeez, oh, whatever, you can watch it if you like. The struggle is real, by the way. Almost pooped in my pants now. Yep, still struggling. I basically squeezed it so hard that it just collapsed. But not squeezed it enough that it just broke loose. Try to get a little bit more space, I guess. I'm basically working through the escalation tree of how to fix it. The pipe wrench was the next obvious thing to try after rounding off the nut. It grips very well, by the way, so it's not like it's... But it's just not working.
Look.
That's me giving up on this idea. Partially. Yep, still going on. I really should get new gloves at some point. You know, this voiceover stuff is pretty nice. I should do more often.
No. Yes.
I get excited, but no.
Yes.
No.
Or maybe no.
That's a no. If you're wondering how much effect it is on this car, because there's race cars running with open headers and stuff. It's a very substantial change in how much power it
Nothing
generates
in-
now with those holes plugged. And the gas mileage improved by a lot. It went from like 5.5 to 7.5 miles per gallon. It requires way less power to cruise. I was able to go actually much faster than before, at like 60, 65 instead of 50, 55. So yeah, exhaust leak are bad. Not even just because of the sound or anything like that. It sounds kind of nice, but just performance-wise, it's a big, big difference. Basically, from the exhaust valve, roughly 3 to 4 feet, you have to have a nice sealed tube.
Oh.
Just because of the scavenging effect, basically.
Right.
As exhausts rush out, it has effect of sucking the stuff out of the cylinder. When that happens, it pulls the cylinder back up. There's many other things, but that's basically what happens in theory, anyways. But it just allows faster escape, lower pressure in the cylinder, and sucks in fresh charge later. So I tried to bang it, tried to do more of the wrenching, but basically at the end of the day, yeah.
No.
I give up later on. So you might wonder how I fixed it. Well, I drilled out the pieces.
Nope. Nope.
Well, it's so shiny down there. It's definitely not the shiny of like steel. So I think it's brass or like high quality brass, maybe something like that. Something that you don't usually see anymore on the vehicles.
No.
At some point, I give up. No, it took some time to give up. So on the online community, I looked up to see what sizes is gonna be, and that the common thing was to use some drain plug from some big ass vehicle, which is okay. So what I did was find the thread size of that said piece of the drain plug, and I'm gonna put it in the comment below because I already forgot what it was. And on eBay, I found some plugs. Basically, it's a straight cut thread, so it was fairly easy, and it fits. I guess I'm getting ahead of myself. Well, let's keep watching the video. And this is long as video. Remember, it's two of them, so it's double the disappointment and aggravation.
No.
Alright, so here you can see the fitting. And you just try your best not to cross-thread. And if you cross-thread, nobody cares, literally. Because once it's in, it's never coming out. Like, there's absolutely no purpose of take those plugs out. So you're just gonna shove it in there and call it a day. No thread sealer, no nothing, just metal and metal. It's gonna rust together, it's gonna give you the best seal ever, and that's it. That's how submarines are made, you know? There you go.
Okay.